Welcome to another exciting episode of the Insurance Untangled Podcast. I am Ben Tuine, one of the co-hosts of this podcast that is dedicated to helping practices that are tangled up with insurance. We talk about topics that help you take more control and create a bigger and better, brighter future for you, your patients, and of course, for your team members. Today, we have our guest, co-host, who is also, who's going to be our guest. We're going to interview him today, Jordan Comstock. What's up? What's up, Jordan?
What's up, dog? How you doing?
I called you Comstock. My bad.
It's all right. I got a letter in the mail the other day, and it was addressed Jordan Cornstalk. So,
oh, that is hilarious.
Yeah, it happens all the time.
Yeah, I feel your. I guess all three of us. We could have
unique last
has
names.
the most unique last name, the most authentic last name there. You know?
Yeah,
there you go. Authentic.
Yeah, authentic.
Cultured last name, I should say. You know,
Cultured.
You know, Naren and I think our both of our last names, if you were to sort of rank which one is more difficult to pronounce,
I think I'll win. My last name will win for sure.
Yeah.
I think yeah, it's kind of neck and neck there. Well, I guess the worst I've heard my last name, somebody called me Mr. Twinkie once. I was like, how do you get Twinkie out of that?
I forgot about that. Yeah, I'm gonna start calling you Twinkie Man.
Yeah.
Hey, Twinkie Man.
Thank you, Cornstalk. Appreciate
Yeah.
that.
Nice.
Well, let's dive into it. We're going to talk about how to basically this whole idea of membership plans that Jordan is a true expert at. And so Jordan, what we decided to talk about are 5 reasons for reoccurring, why reoccurring revenue matters, and give 5 reasons for that, right?
Yeah.
You want to give us an overview?
I can give you guys an overview. I mean, this is one of my favorite topics, recurring revenue, why it matters to the practice. There's 5 that I usually talk about. So the first one is when you generate recurring revenue through membership plans, for example, one of the benefits is it helps you smooth out feast and famine months. So if you think about this, dentistry operates in cycles, right? There's months like September or Sucktember. April usually is a slower month. Sometimes the summer months are slower, depending on where your practice is at. So we call those ups and downs feast and famine cycles. And I used to manage my dad's dental lab, and the lab would follow those feast and famine cycles. It was actually kind of frustrating because the lab didn't have predictable recurring revenues. So one month we were killing it and generated a lot of revenue in the business, and then the next month we struggled to make ends meet, right? And that's really challenging. So when you have recurring revenue, you're able to start your month out with revenue coming into the bank automatically, right? If you structure these membership plans right. So that's one of my favorite reasons, is because it makes operating your business better. The second is it helps increase valuation of your business. So if you're looking to exit, from your practice or sell your practice at one future point, which most dentists will do that, to retire, you want to be able to build a valuable practice for the next buyer, right? Whether it be another dentist or a DSO or whoever, you want it to be an attractive office. So by generating predictable recurring revenue in your business, it helps stabilize it so that it is more valuable. It's more valuable to you as the owner and operator, and it's more valuable for the next practice owner, because a lot of the times when a practice gets transitioned to another owner, there's a lot of patient churn. Mm-hmm. This happened to one of my best friends who's a dentist. He bought a fee-for-service practice, excellent practice. And the first year he had so much patient attrition and no way to retain it because he didn't have a membership plan. So it's really important in regards to increasing your valuation and retaining your patients. So I think that's one of the second reason why recurring revenue matters. The third is it just stabilizes your cash flow, so you can have cash infusions as you're operating, day to day. A good example of this would be your payroll, right? You have payroll, you have to pay people. Usually it's on the 5th and the 20th of each month that you have to pay your people. You can set up, and I've know practices that have done this where they've set up their membership plan where they get cash infusions on the 1st and the 15th of each month, which that's what I recommend, which infuses your business with cash right before payroll period so that you never are late on payroll, right? Which can happen sometimes. So it's a really great for operational cash flow. The fourth reason is the automatic revenue at the beginning of each month, right? When I was at the dental lab, we started every new month at $0 in collections, right? And then we had to work up to pay for ourselves every month. We had to work and hit certain numbers every day to be able to pay for payroll costs, our office space, our machinery. Every month we started from zero, right? When you have a membership plan generating predictable recurring revenue for your practice, we have a practice right now that we have several practices that have $1 million membership plan. Whether they do dentistry or not, they're generating like $80,000+ in monthly recurring revenue, right? So they start their month at 80,000 plus in recurring revenue. It's a very important concept in business. Most businesses do the start their months with zero, and it's just stressful. So in addition to that, recurring revenue lets you sleep better at night because of that, right? You're not having to start at zero. That sucks, especially after I remember this feeling. I was managing my dad's business. We had the most successful month we've ever had in the history of the dental lab at the time. And we were pumped, right? Last day of the month, we're like, holy smokes, this was a killer month. The next day was the first of the next month, and everything reset.
Back to zero.
Back to zero. It's like, hey, we got to figure out how to do that again, and that's a challenge. So I think people don't, when you own a business or a dental office, you don't think about that as much because it's how you run your business. But recurring revenue really matters because of that. And then the fifth one, which is one of my favorite ones, is simply members buy more. Another way to say that is people who pay subscriptions or pay a recurring revenue fee to your office tend to buy more with your practice, or say yes to treatment more is probably the most appropriate phrase. Think Amazon Prime, think Costco membership. There's a reason why those large organizations offer a subscription plan, is because they know that members buy more. I think Amazon is like 4 to 6 times more if you become a Prime member. I'm not too sure about Costco stats, but it's probably very similar. We see here at BoomCloud, we see patients pay, 3 times more for treatment, and which is really interesting because a lot of the times when you offer a membership plan to generate that predictable recurring revenue, you're giving some discounts or savings to the patient. I often hear from offices like, well, we don't want to discount our work, which is a fair phrase to say. But the reality is you're not really discounting your work because patients spend more and they're paying for subscription, which is a new revenue stream that most dental offices don't really understand. So there's a book that I recommend. It's called The Automatic Customer by John Warlow. And it talks about why subscriptions and recurring revenue is one of the best business models to implement in any type of business, especially dentistry. When you're tied to the chair to generate revenue, it's nice to have some functions of your business generating revenue, whether you do dentistry or not. So those are my 5 reasons why I like recurring revenue and why I think it's one of the best business models in any business.
Yeah, no, I love that.
Thank you, Jordan. I before we jump into, membership plans as a good way to create recurring revenue and all the other benefits that comes with it, I want to dig a little bit deep in some of the reasons you talked about.
Sure.
I'm sure we all entrepreneurs, we were all bootstrapped. I mean, the 3 of us.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that this story is true for you guys. Like, I remember it took me a while to understand the difference between a technician getting paid for his skills versus an entrepreneur, business owner.
Yeah.
The business is making money, right?
Yes.
I really think recurring revenue is at the heart of that transition, right? Because recurring revenue meaning whether you show up or not, whether you have done even a single treatment or not, you have money in the bank.
Yeah.
A great business has an automatic way of creating revenue, right? It's almost
Yeah.
like clockwork. It happens, your business, like it's subscription. Your clients pay you a monthly fee. So on day one, you have that amount of money already paid for in your bank account.
Yeah.
So I
No,
guess talk about that a little bit more, like, why this is such a critical concept, because we talk about a lot of doctors who are struggling, who are like paycheck to paycheck. They don't know how to meet their next payroll, like they're really stressed out all the time. They have all kinds of illnesses because of the stress, probably even challenges
sure.
in their relationships because that's all they
Sure.
think about. How do I make my payroll? How do I keep Susie happy? Otherwise she's going to quit. And like all this,
There's a lot.
nonsense.
There's a lot to operating a company and managing employees and managing the liabilities to that company, right? It's a heavy burden to take on, and that's why I've always liked recurring revenue, and that's my business has a lot of recurring revenue that we, no matter what we do, if my sales team never sells a new customer, we have revenue coming in automatically, and there, even in like, I didn't talk about this in my 5, but I would say the 6th reason is it helps to combat any type of recessions, right? I've seen this multiple times running companies. When you have this type of business model, it allows you to get through recessions just fine, right? Another reason, if you look, let's take a step back, because recurring revenue is not a new business model. It's been around for a long time. If you look at outside of dentistry at some of the biggest companies, we'll talk about the evil empire of insurance companies. Their business model is all recurring revenue.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great business model. Yeah, it may suck on your side with the deal that you're signing on the PPO line, but the reality is that some of the biggest buildings in the state are businesses like insurance companies that have predictable recurring revenue coming in month over month, right? Same thing. I'm in Lehi, Utah. We live in a place where there's a lot of software companies, and the core business model for software companies is a subscription. And we see some of the biggest buildings, in our state here, or our city here in Lehi, are all software companies. So it's just a really powerful model, and it has so many benefits when you implement it in your business. No matter what type of business you have, it just gives you that peace of mind when you implement it.
Quick question, kind of a follow-up, Jordan, on that, on number 2 there, increased business valuation.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of doctors ask that question, is like, when it comes to EBITDA valuation, why is a reoccurring revenue business more valuable than like a traditional transactional business?
Yeah, I want to know the answer as well, because I think that's a really good question, Ben.
Yeah, so the main reason is because it's stable and predictable, right? Meaning you can forecast it out to the next buyer and say, hey, look, we have X amount of patients on this membership plan, for example, and we could forecast that revenue stream out year over year. When you can forecast future revenues, that's really powerful for any type of buyer, whether it's private equity or like a DSO or just another financial buyer, which is another dentist buying. So when you can forecast revenue in the future and show that the stability of it, it just paints a better positioning for your practice in regards to valuation, and paints a way healthier story, especially if you have a healthy membership plan, right?
Yeah.
So anything that you can forecast out is valuable, because then you can reassure the next buyer that they're going to have that revenue stream coming in. So that's why recurring revenue increases valuations.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Especially, and it's all about future forecasting, right? That's and you'll need to be able to show that, and like in our software, you can look at reports and forecast them out, and you can look at historicals, which paint.
Yeah.
You look at historicals and say, this is how we're growing with our growth rate of the membership plan. If you buy the practice, Ben, let's say you're a dentist trying to buy a practice. If you buy the practice and there's still a lot of inactive patients or uninsured patients that can be adopted to the membership plan. That's another like future forecaster, right? So it's all about future forecasting is
Yeah.
really with recurring revenue.
So like for a $1 million practice, traditional model, right? Current model. If I collected a 1 million last year, this year I can probably sell it for what, maybe 900,000 to $1 million, maybe.
Like a discounted cash flow type valuation. That sometimes that happens if you don't
like,
have predictability. Yeah.
Right. So that's a current model, right? $1 million practice, you can sell it for maybe 900,000, right? For a $1 million reoccurring revenue practice, let's say all 1 million is tied to a membership plan. What would the value of that practice be once it's sold or when it's sold?
So it would most likely be a multiplier valuation, right? Now, when it comes to valuations, it's whatever the highest bidder is willing to pay is kind of how I look at it, right? But it would be a multiplier. You can say 2x, 3x, maybe more. But it'll turn from a discounted cash flow model, like the first scenario, to a multiplier model, which is what you want. You don't want a discounted cash flow model. That just kind of sucks.
Right.
Right. So you want a multiplier. So that's what it would change the valuation, especially the $1 million, to a multiplier. Now, every market has different multipliers. Like if we look at the software market, which I obviously know very well, that ebbs and flows, right? And so does dentistry. Dentistry ebbs and flows, and what the valuations, what type of multiples you can get. For example, and I can't talk, directly in dentistry with, the patterns of valuations. Maybe somebody like Matt Hamlin, we should bring on and talk on that. He's smart with that stuff. But I know like in the software industry, like 2021 was the highest multiples. In fact, they reached like 26x revenue. Yeah, it's insane. But now they're down, right? So every industry goes up and down with valuations. So we would need a valuation expert to come and, analyze the actual data to any specific practice and look at, what type of multiple they can get, or hopefully it's not a discounted cash flow. But that's where recurring revenue comes in. It will turn it into a multiplier.
Gotcha. That's awesome.
Thank you, Jordan. You talked. I mean, I'm sold on this idea that a business with recurring revenue is so much better than a business without recurring revenue. You talked about peace of mind. You talked about the value of the business. You talked about lots of reasons. I want to really focus on the other benefit of a membership plan, which is patients buy more. I think it's such an important point. And to be honest, this is kind of a new concept, right? I mean, today, Costco was probably the pioneer, the membership plan. We all know the Costco membership plan, and everyone who has a Costco membership spends literally 10 times more than what they would spend at a typical, at least that's what happens in my house.
I spend a lot every time I go to Costco. It's ridiculous.
It's like almost like $1,000 bill. It's crazy. Every time you go up, you load up. So Costco invented it. And, this idea that you collect a membership plan, and then because people paid that membership plan, they feel like they need to get their money's worth. So every purchase they want to get it from Costco. Only when Costco doesn't carry some, we went to Hawaii and we booked it on Costco, the cruise, everything. It's just, the whole thing is through Costco. It's crazy, how much we use Costco. But I was going to say, can you talk about members buy more? I know you probably have lots of data, with you helped so many practices, have a membership plan, run the membership plan, but of course, make it a strategic advantage for them. So can you talk about how does it make an impact on their day-to-day revenue from patients?
Yeah. So members buy more. It's psychology, really. That's what you're working with here. For some reason, there's a membership effect. When somebody buys any type of subscription to something, they want to utilize it more. They want to get their money's worth, like you said, Naren. Like a good example of that is we look just within with our own product, right? Meaning we gave away, our product as a freemium model for a period of time, and we charge a subscription for our product. The interesting thing that we found just with our own study, with our own services is that the people that paid, did a freemium model where they didn't pay us any subscription to use our software, they didn't value it, they didn't utilize it. In fact, we saw that the practices that paid a subscription to us were 7 times more successful, meaning they used our software more because they valued it more. So the same thing in dentistry. If we look at a practice that is maybe they're attending to their uninsured patients and just saying, hey, you automatically get a discount because you're uninsured, right? Well, the patients don't really value that as much as a give to get, right? Meaning, oh, if you want these discounts, you pay us a subscription. That's a give to get. I think it's really important to have give to gets in any business, right? Nobody should get anything for free because there's money, there's costs associated with everything. Even like a lot of the times people think like software companies don't have costs and they can give things for free, which is like, it's so untrue. My business runs as very similarly as a dental practice does. I have human costs just like you do, right? And the same thing, when you give free things away to patients, they just don't value it as much. So when they become a member, they value the discounts more. They value the offerings that, the list of benefits they get more because it's an exclusive thing that they have to get by committing with their wallet. So when you get somebody to commit with their wallet, they value the service more, which means they end up using it more, so that's kind of the psychology behind it. Every time I've bought subscriptions for anything, I tend to use it way more because I'm like, oh, I'm paying for this, so I got to use it. So that's why members buy more that's kind of how I think it works. Yeah.
There are subscriptions for everything, right? From your auto repair shop to you name it, even like, I think even fast
car washes.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, like Taco Bell has their subscription. I haven't joined yet because it makes me nervous. But
Uber has a subscription. Uber has a subscription. Yeah,
I actually did a post a while back on this. I was on the Dental Nachos Facebook group, and I just documented. I was traveling to like an event. I think I was going to Dykema for the DSO event, and I was traveling, and I counted how many different times that I was. People offered a subscription to me just from the airline. And then I got and ordered my Uber, and then Uber had a little pop-up on the app and said, hey, if you join our subscription plan, you can save 10% on your Uber purchases, right? And I think just from my journey from leaving my office to getting to the airport, to getting to the city, and then getting to the hotel, there was like 8 different subscriptions that were offered to me from the airline to the Uber to within the hotel. So it's really fascinating that more and more businesses are trying to implement membership plans because the business model is it's the best business model. I mean, if you look at in the history, even like that's why people like real estate and they rent it out and make some cash flow because it's predictable, it's reliable, and that's what makes it so valuable.
Right. Apple, I heard, has 1 billion subscribers. 1 billion with a B.
Apple does?
Apple.
Holy smokes.
They have 1 billion members.
Yeah, they have all kinds of.
I wonder what the average revenue per member is or per month.
Probably, I don't know, but they make $10 tons of money. Yeah.
Let's say it's $10. I mean, yeah, if you look at Amazon Prime too, that they have a multi-billion-dollar recurring revenue stream, whether they sell things on their Amazon site, or not. They've got billions of dollars coming in just from their membership plan. That's how powerful it is. This is how ridiculous, Taco Bell started their membership plan, I think in 2021, or was it last year? In the first quarter, they generated like $12 million in annual recurring revenue.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Just the first quarter.
Free money. I mean,
yeah, it's revenue coming in. It's like $10 a month for, I don't know if it's unlimited tacos. I hope not. That can get really crazy.
I think you get like 1 or 2 tacos. I think.
Yeah.
Or maybe you get a savings.
It's really interesting. So they've had great success. I don't know who would buy a Taco Bell membership. Maybe I will. Maybe I will at lunch today. But if you think about that, even restaurants are getting creative with it. And I think it's really good. So it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, everybody. Well, the model is proven to be successful. A lot of businesses are trying to do it. Heck, we're trying to do it too. So,
Yeah. I mean, the cool thing is if you think about it, any maintenance, like in the service industry, any maintenance you have to do. So like, this is why it works in dentistry, because you have to maintain a patient's mouth, right? Or teeth.
yeah,
Any business that has recurring maintenance can become a recurring revenue model in the service
yeah.
side of things.
Just like your phone, every 2 years you trade it in and get a new one.
Well, yeah. So this is the platform, right? The phone, and then on top of it, Apple has their subscriptions, right? I pay a subscription for iTunes. I pay a subscription for Apple TV. I pay a subscription for
Music,
the music. So the crazy thing is on this
probably
platform, the
storage.
iPhone. Yep, I pay for storage. Gosh, I pay for storage. I pay for storage. It's the ultimate business model here, the iPhone. I pay for storage. I pay for iTunes music subscription. I pay for the Apple TV. There's probably a few other subscriptions, but on top of that, Apple has a network of apps that that they offer, and they generate recurring revenue off of other people's applications. It's a really good business model. So if you can be creative within your dental office and say, what can I offer? I mean, we've seen practices offer unlimited whitening subscriptions and turn that into $1 million business, just whitening subscriptions. It sounds ridiculous, but it's really interesting that people are starting to do that within their businesses. So you can get really creative, and if you can get creative and think and talk to your patients on what they value, you can create a subscription out of it. So that's kind of how I think about it.
That's awesome. Awesome, Jordan. Good stuff, man.
Yeah. So Jordan, I had a question. So yes, we need membership plans. Yes, recurring revenues are critical for a successful business. Can we just dive a little deeper into how to create a membership plan? Like if I'm a dentist and a practice owner and I'm looking at, hey, I want to do this. Where do I start? Like, what do you think I should do?
Yeah, so I would always, you want to start a membership plan. They're pretty easy to set up. I would always look at your demographics in your local cities that you're targeting and structure your plan and your pricing around the median income of your area. But setting up a membership plan and just getting your benefits and offer right is the first step. And then you want to launch it. You want to launch it to your existing uninsured and inactive patients. Because that's the low-hanging fruit. I've seen practices that have launched their membership plan by sending emails and text messages out to their existing uninsured and inactive patients. And within a few months, they've signed up 400, 500 active membership patients, right? So that's your low-hanging fruit. You want to start there. And the interesting thing is those patients are just sitting there. When you launch your membership program and get them to sign up for it, it becomes a revenue stream. Most offices are sitting on a gold mine of revenue streams that they're not tapping into, right? So that's why I always say start with your existing uninsured patients with internal marketing, right? Then you want to do external marketing strategies like SEO is an external marketing strategy, direct mail marketing. We've had a lot of practices have a success targeting the 55 and up communities with direct mail and attracting those patients that have retired, that have lost dental benefits, and they need some type of a program to benefit going into the dental office. So membership plan is perfect for them. You could target local small businesses. We can do a whole episode on all like the ways to market and grow a membership program. But small businesses are great because, for example, like every one of my employees here, when they join my company, we pay a dental membership plan for them as one of their benefits. We don't buy insurance. We buy membership plans for all of our employees. So a lot of businesses will do that. We've had practices that had success, targeting small local businesses. And the cool thing about that is you can go out and find new businesses in your local area, but you also probably have business owners that already go to your office. So start with your existing patients there again, right? So there's a lot of different strategies to grow these. The key thing is just start talking about it. That is the key thing. I've seen practices grow to like 1,000+ patients just by talking to every single patient that comes in, new patients, existing patients, whether they have insurance or not. And the word gets around, and you can grow a program pretty fast. But that's the key. That's probably the biggest challenge. Practices just aren't good at marketing, and marketing is just educating and speaking to your audience. That's all it is. So those are my tips.
Cool, Jordan. Website for like an ebook or anything like any resources?
Yeah, we got some resources. Go to boomcloud.com. We have a section on the website called Free Books. You can download the $1 Million Membership Plan book that educates you even more in depth on how to grow your membership program. And there's a course associated with that book that you can grab as well. So just go to boomcloud.com or boomcloudapps.com. Either one takes you there. So that's it, guys.
Thank you so much, Jordan. I really appreciated our conversation. And of course, Ben, for being a co-host today. I also want to take a minute to thank our audience, our listeners. We can't do what we are doing without you. We appreciate your your iTunes reviews and Google Play reviews. So please write a review for us if you haven't written one. Share this on social media. If you enjoyed this podcast and feel like somebody else can benefit from it, share it on Instagram, TikTok, your favorite social media platform. Till we meet again, please visit insuranceuntangled.com. Have a wonderful, amazing week.